For this problem, the demand function for a particular product is given by the function dx equals the square root of negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110 unit in dollars, where x is the number of the units sold. What is the marginal revenue when 14 items are sold? Round your answer to 2 decimal places. The key part of the problem is you have to find the marginal revenue. The revenue, the notation is capital Rx as a function of the x or function of item sold. And when you find the marginal of the quantity, that means you're going to find the derivative of that quantity. So we are looking for the R prime when x is 14. Another way we say we're going to find R prime at 14. That means what we're gonna need the function Rx. When you look at the information provided, we do not have the function Rx given directly, but we are given the demand function. Therefore, the Rx will be formed by the product of X items sold and the demand function or the price function. And then we're gonna find the R prime. After we get R prime, we're gonna substitute the R prime where x is 14 as the answer. So this is the final step. So as you see the flow of the work, we're gonna need the Rx function. So let's get back to the main part of the problem. Since the Rx or the revenue function is the product of the x and the demand function, we get the Rx or the revenue function as x multiplied by the square root of negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110. After we get the revenue function, next we're going to find R prime or the derivative of the revenue function. As you notice, this is the product of the two function, so we name the first factor as a f, the second factor as a g. You see the radical or the root, so we can rewrite it as the power or the power 1/2. Therefore, well, the f is the x and the g is the quantity negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110 all raised to the power 1/2. When you see the product, what we're gonna need to apply the product rule. And what is the product rule? So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. From the product of f times g, the product rule we're gonna apply gonna be f times the g prime plus the f prime times g. Again, back to the side notes, we're gonna break up the problem to find some more pieces and then bring everything back into the main part of the problem. Since the f is x and the g is the quantity negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110 to the power 1/2. So the f prime is nice and simple because derivative of the x is 1. F prime is done, set it aside. Where the g prime, as you see the g is the quantity raised to the power. So we see this as the quantity or the expression raised to the power n or the power you can name as a n. So we're going to apply the general power rule. That means whatever the quantity here, we're going to have to find the prime, find the derivative of it and multiply on top of that. So to apply the general power rule where the n or the power is 1/2, so it becomes 1/2 of that quantity. I'm going to use it as a template. It's the block here, which is the whole quantity, to the power. Now the power back up by 1, then multiply by the derivative of this box. Okay, derivative of this box. So what we can fill in the box here, we're going to fill in with negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110, where the derivative going to be the derivative of this expression. That means we're going to get negative 0.5 times x plus 7 quantity. Okay. Now put them together and get everything ready to go. Okay, this is G prime, sorry. So G prime going to be 1/2 times the quantity negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110 all raised to the power negative 1/2, and then multiply by its derivative of that quantity, which is negative 0.5x plus 7. It's kind of long, but we get everything we needed. And then apply the product rule formula, put the right term in the right spot. Sin f is the x multiplied by g prime, which is 1/2 times the quantity negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110 all to the power negative 1/2, and then multiply by the quantity negative 0.5 times x plus 7, and then added by the product of the f prime and g. The f prime is 1, the g is the quantity negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110 to the power 1/2, which is the original square root of the quantity. So we are done applying the rule. You can rewrite in the form that less complicated or simplified a little bit more by changing the negative power into the positive power, and then the power 1/2 is the same as the radical. So I'm gonna use the notation on the side to guide what we are going to do next. So if you have the expression like a to the negative 1/2 is the same as 1 over a to the positive 1/2, where the 1/2 power is the same as the square root. So we're going to transform the negative power into the positive, and at the end going to change the power 1/2 into the radical, which is what we're going to do with this expression. Now back to the problem. So our r prime going to be x multiplied by, so the negative power will go down to the bottom together with the 2 and change the power 1/2 that becomes positive 1/2 on the bottom to the radical or the square root. So we have square root of negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110, where the top we still have to remain the product of x and negative 0.5x plus 7. Okay, now we are done the first part of the product rule there, and then the second term, since 1 times anything you get the same thing, and also taking care of the grouping symbol, now becomes negative 0.25 x squared plus 7x plus 110, and this one is the power 1/2, so that means, I'm sorry, so gonna be the square root of that quantity. So that what we wrote it from. So now we have the r prime. So we got this step done, this step done. Now we're gonna replace the x with the 14, which our goal of the marginal revenue at 14 items are sold. Wherever we see x, we're gonna replace with the 14. So 14 times negative 0.5 times 14 here, and then plus 7, close the group, all divided by 2 times the radical negative 0.25 quantity 14 square plus 7 times 14, and then plus 110 all under the square root, and then added by the second term, which is the square root of negative 0.25 14 square plus 7 times 14, and then plus 110 all under the radical or the root. and then put in a calculator, round to two decimal places, we should get 12.61 unit is dollars per item sold. And this is what we are looking for.